Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Mikel Arteta raves about Kieran Tierney. Mikel Arteta has been asked about Kieran Tierney ahead of Arsenal's return to Europa League action against Sporting tonight. The Northern Echo reports that there is an acceptance amongst the Arsenal hierarchy that he is unhappy over his game time this season. They say he is Newcastle's number one left back target. In the event he is allowed to leave when the summer transfer window opens. At his press conference ahead of the game, Arteta took a question about how Tierney has reacted to being out of the side largely lately, with Alex Zinchenko preferred. He replied, "Very good, because we talked and we discussed the situation, and we had a very similar opinion about that. He knows his role. Under me, he has played a lot more than any other player probably, compared to the previous players at the club in the last 3 years. He understands the situation and he needs to challenge the situation." Speaking in a YouTube video filmed from Arsenal's training ground, goal journalist Charles Watts said that Tierney missed a training session this week due to illness and won't play tonight. Tierney will hope to return for the second leg and that the Gunners can go deep into European competition as it likely represents his best chances of games between now and the end of the season. Gabriel Martinelli says Arsenal have one of the best young players in the world. Arsenal star Gabriel Martinelli has raved about Bukayo Saka and believes the Englishman will sign a new contract soon. The Gunners have one of the youngest squads in Europe. However, that hasn't stopped them from outperforming everyone else in the Premier League this season. Martinelli and Saka are among the youngest in the squad, but they have still had a massive impact. Saka has been outstanding for Arsenal this season. He has scored 11 goals and provided 9 assists for the Gunners in all competitions, and he is one of the biggest reasons why Mikel Arteta's side are where they are, 5 points clear of Manchester City at the top of the Premier League table. Watching Saka play at this level makes it hard to believe he is still only 21 years old. That shows how big a future he has in the game, and Martinelli believes his future lies at Arsenal. When asked about Saka's contract situation, Martinelli said, as relied on Highter's TV, "I will be happy if he signs because he is a very, very good player, one of the best young players in the world. He is at his house, Arsenal is home, and for sure he is happy and will be happy as well if he stays and signs a new deal. We always have some jokes, me, him, and Saliba, but it's up to him. He will stay for sure. He loves the club." Saka is undoubtedly one of the best young players in the world. It won't be wrong to call him one of the best players in the Premier League either, considering that only Harry Kane and Erling Haaland have more direct goal contributions than him this season. It's extremely important for Arsenal to tie Saka down to a new deal. His current contract expires in the summer of 2024, but there is optimism that he will put pen to paper very soon. That would be a massive boost for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta praises what he's seen from Emile Smith Rowe in training. Mikel Arteta has praised the performance of Emile Smith Rowe in training after the youngster was taken off as a substitute in Arsenal's dramatic win at the weekend. In comments reported by Football London, "It was a strange day for the Gunners on Saturday, but it was also a strange day for Smith Rowe. Of course, the 22-year-old has been eased gently back into the squad after several months on the sidelines with injury. He started the clash with Bournemouth on the bench, but the injury to Leandro Trossard meant that he was needed during the first half. Unfortunately, he was not able to see out the game. With Arsenal 2-1 down, Arteta decided to bring Reece Nelson, and it proved to be Smith Rowe who came off. Obviously, the decision was vindicated, with Nelson scoring the winner in the 97th minute, but gradually, people started to spare a thought for Smith Rowe, given the stigma of the substitute getting substituted. Arteta was asked about how Smith Rowe was ahead of Arsenal's Europa League tie with Sporting, and he suggested that the attacking midfielder is in good spirits. He said, as reported by Football London, "He is fine, he has trained really well, he was extremely happy that his team won, and on to the next one." It must be noted that the circumstances surrounding Smith Rowe's afternoon were not like when Emmanuel Ebu had to be taken off after coming on all those years ago. Smith Rowe was on the pitch for much longer than he has been at any other point this season, and that is significant given how long he has been sidelined for. If anything, Nelson's goal highlights that players such as Smith Rowe are going to have a big role to play in the remaining months of the season. His talent is undeniable. It's simply going to come down to taking his opportunity at the perfect time, just as Nelson did. Arteta tipped to leave the Emirates if Barcelona come in for him. Speaking on the Highbury Squad YouTube channel, Kevin Campbell has been discussing Mikel Arteta's future at Arsenal and a potential move to Barcelona. Arteta is doing an unbelievable job with the Gunners at the moment, but annoyingly, whenever someone is shining at a club like Arsenal, the biggest clubs in the world will eventually come calling. Campbell thinks that a move to Barcelona could eventually be in the offing for Arteta, claiming that the current Arsenal boss wouldn't reject a move to the Camp Nou just because he is the Arsenal manager due to the fact he's been a boyhood Barca fan who was schooled at La Masia. Campbell discussed the Spaniard's future. He said, Barcelona is his team. He came through their football school. He had the education that is La Masia. The heartstrings are there and the ties are there. One thing that Mikel Arteta has done is prove he is a professional. He knows Arsenal. He's been the captain of Arsenal. He knows how it works. He is one with Arsenal. Look at what he is doing, but there is no doubt about it. If it went sour like we know it can at certain clubs, if Barcelona were interested, I don't think he'd turn around and say, no, I won't do it because I am Arsenal manager, especially if it turns sour because we have seen things turn sour for managers. There is nothing wrong with him having that connection with Barcelona. He is not English, he is Spanish, that's not a problem. If Arteta keeps going the way he is going, it surely won't be long before Barcelona do come calling. As a former La Masia graduate, the Spaniard will certainly be on the La Liga Giants' radar already, and if Avacani does come up in the near future, you have to imagine he will be considered. Of course, whether or not he'd ditch Arsenal or not is up for debate. He is well on his way to becoming a club legend at the Emirates, and he is building his own exciting project in North London right now. Arteta will certainly be a contender for the Barca job in the future, but he could easily opt to stay at Arsenal. Edin Ketia says Granit Xhaka could well become a manager one day. Speaking to the BBC, Edin Ketia has been discussing who in the Arsenal squad he believes has what it takes to one day become a manager. The Gunners actually have quite a rich history when it comes to producing future managers. Mikel Arteta is, of course, their current boss. Jack Wilshere is in charge of the under-18s, while Cesc Fabregas has recently stated that he'd love to manage the Gunners one day. So, who in the current squad is the most likely to be the next Arteta? Well, according to Nketiah, Granit Xhaka could be that man. Indeed, Nketiah says that Xhaka is management material, stating that he is a natural leader who has a real passion for this sport. Nketiah discussed the idea of Xhaka becoming a manager one day. Nketiah was asked, who has managerial material in the squad? Who do you think could one day be a gaffer? Nketiah said, I'd say Granit Xhaka. I think he might be a bit strict, but I think he is a good man. He has a passion for the game, and he communicates well. He is a natural leader. Xhaka has certainly shown in recent years that he has the passion and commitment to this sport to be a manager. Sometimes that can come out in a bad way, and he can get unnecessary yellow and red cards. But if there is one thing you can't question, it's how much Xhaka genuinely does care about his football. This Swiss midfielder is very much in that Mikel Arteta mold. He appears to be a football obsessive who strikes for perfection in every aspect of the game. We could definitely see Xhaka being a manager one day once his playing career is done. Mikel Arteta admits he is a big fan of Hector Bellerin. Mikel Arteta has admitted that he is a huge fan of former Arsenal player Hector Bellerin, who he allowed to leave the club for free last summer. the Gunners have turned their attention to the Europa League as they are set to face Sporting Lisbon in their first test of the knockout stages tonight. Arteta is expected to make some changes as he bids to keep Arsenal's title hopes firmly on track while competing in Europe. The Spaniard is set to come up against a familiar face tonight as Bellerin will be lining up for Sporting. The 27-year-old was released from his contract with Arsenal last summer after 11 years at the club, and Arteta has heaped praise on the fullback, admitting that he absolutely loves him. Speaking to the media ahead of tonight's clash in Lisbon, Arteta was asked if he is excited to see Bellerin once again. He said, regarding Hector, absolutely love the person, love the player. He was a really important player for our club. He left something beyond just his career, but as a person in our football club. It will be great to see him tomorrow, and I am sure the boys and the staff are going to be really happy to see him again. Bellerin looked set to have a bright future ahead of him when he first emerged at Arsenal, but the fullback picked up a serious injury during the 18-19 campaign and just wasn't the same player thereafter. He made the switch to Barcelona over the summer on a free transfer after 11 years in North London. His time at the Camp Nou didn't exactly go according to plan, but he is finding his feet once again under Ruben Amorim at Sporting. Mikel Arteta said to hand Jakub Kiwior his Arsenal debut tonight. Jakub Kiwior is now expected to make his Arsenal debut on Thursday as the Gunners prepare to face Sporting in the first leg of their Europa League tie, according to a report from Poland. Kiwior was one of three players to arrive in what is already looking like an outstanding January transfer window for the Premier League leaders. However, unlike Leandro Trossard and Jorginho, the 23-year-old is yet to make his bow for Mikel Arteta's man. He has actually been an unused substitute for every Premier League game since his arrival, but it would appear that his wait for a first game for the Gunners is about to end tonight. According to a report from Poland, they have confirmed with various sources that Kiwior is set to get minutes against Sporting tonight, and that may involve the Poland international starting. Arsenal fans will be extremely excited to see Kiwior in action. He has been signed as one for the future. However, he is not someone who is unfamiliar with the bigger stages. He played 17 times in Serie A this season before his switch to the Premier League, and he is almost into double figures for caps for his country. Robert Lewandowski, of all people, has claimed that he is an extraordinary player, so it will be very intriguing to see how he will fare should he play on Thursday. It's going to be difficult to put pressure on William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. The pair have been amongst the Premier League's best this season, but he can certainly show that he can contribute. Certainly, the Europa League could be the perfect platform for Kiwior and his teammates in a similar spot in the pecking order, with the primary focus surely being on how the side perform in the title race. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.